O you who believe in Allah and His Messenger, and the book which He sent to His Messenger. This book is not to be doubted. It is a guide for those of you who believe in the unseen, who trust what has been revealed to you, and firmly believe in the life to come. They are on true guidance from their Lord, and will prosper.
What is this book?
The Qur'an is the sacred book of Islam, revealed to the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. Muslims believe it contains the actual words of Allah. This was Allah's final, complete message to humankind. The words have remained unchanged for 1400 years.
So what does it do for people now?
The Qur'an tells Muslims everything they need to know about Allah, His creation, and how to live their lives.
The Qur'an is the word of God. It is the most important book for me and for any Muslim, as it should be, because it isn't written by any author, it's written by your Creator.
It's not just a book then. I mean, it becomes something that's so important in your life that you have to keep reading from it, and you always find something.
The Quran means to me a way of understanding, a way of seeking knowledge, a way of opening up more knowledge than I already have.
It's very, very amazing, because it always seems to be like applying to you.
I can read the Quran over and over again and keep learning every single time I read it.
I use it as a guidance, you know, to guide me on problems, on things in life, on how I should behave. I mean, it gives you morals, manners, etiquette, everything is in there. And sometimes, you know, everybody needs to turn to somebody sometimes, and why not turn to a higher authority? Who better?
More information.
The Quran has 114 chapters, surahs, each of which has a name relating to its first word or something important in it. The Quran is not a story with a beginning, middle and end. Surahs are arranged in an order that was revealed to Muhammad. A single verse is known as an ayah. There are 6,236 verses, 77,639 words, and 323,015 letters. The Quran was revealed to Muhammad in Arabic. Only in that language can its beauty and meaning be fully appreciated.
أرأيت إن كذب وتولى ألم يعلم بأن الله يرى.
How did Muhammad remember everything he heard?
Although he could not read or write, he remembered by heart everything Allah had revealed. During his lifetime, he recited all the surahs of the Quran to his companions. They wrote it down on whatever came to hand: dried out palm leaves, pieces of broken pottery, stones. After Muhammad died, all the written fragments were collected and arranged in the order that Muhammad had been taught by the angel Jibreel. That text is exactly the same one that Muslims use today.
When did the Prophet die?
O people, listen to my words carefully, for I do not know whether I will meet you again on such an occasion. You must live in peace with one another. There must be no rivalry or enmity among you. Regard the life and property of every Muslim in the same way. Remember, you will surely appear before Allah and answer for your actions.
This was part of a farewell speech given by the Prophet Muhammad from the Mount of Mercy. Thousands of followers listened to his words.
I leave with you the Quran and the example of my life, the Sunnah. If you follow these, you will not go astray. Listen to my words and learn that all Muslims are one community.
A few months later, the Prophet was dead. He was 63 years old. He was buried in the room where he died, alongside his mosque in Medina.
What's the difference between the Qur'an and the Sunnah?
The Qur'an is the words of Allah. The Sunnah is everything the Prophet did or said. The word Sunnah means example of the Prophet. Because Muslims regard Muhammad as the living example of Islamic behavior, they follow his Sunnah for further guidance on how to behave as a good Muslim.
When do you read the Qur'an?
To start the day, I pick it up and I just let it fall open at a page, randomly let it, and whatever's written there is usually my message for the day, and I try to sort of take that to heart. I find the best time for me is at night, when it's peaceful and it's quiet, and I'll read for a few hours. And then I feel at one, and I feel totally at peace, and all my tiredness goes. I had a long day full of tensions, whatever, but at that time, all the tensions have gone, all the tiredness has gone, and I'm just totally peaceful. And I feel at one, close to my God. But when you're actually reading the Quran, you're sort of reading it with your heart, your mind, and your whole body. Everything's in accord, so you're moving with the rhythm of the Quran.
How does reading the Quran affect you?
It inspires me in a lot of ways. Sometimes, when I'm feeling too tired and I don't want to do anything, when I'm feeling even depressed, I just sort of, I find that when I read certain ayahs or certain lines in the Quran, it just uplifts me.
History. The early spread of Islam.
Within 100 years of the Prophet's death, Islam had spread across much of the known world. The Quranic emphasis on justice and equality made Islam popular and widely accepted.
If anyone travels on a road in search of knowledge, Allah will cause him to travel on one of the roads in paradise.
The Quran encouraged people to learn more about Allah's creation. This led to the study of the natural world through science and geography. Muslim scientists excelled in mathematics, medicine, and astronomy. Knowledge of the stars helped sailors navigate, and Muslim ships sailed to every part of the known world. The great centre of wisdom in the West was Andalusia, the Muslim name for Spain. In the 10th and 11th centuries, the cities of Andalusia became the most splendid in Europe. Here there was street lighting, many homes had running water, and there were hundreds of public bathhouses. With Muslims living side by side with Christians and Jews, Muslim Spain was a truly multi-religious society. There was nowhere else in Europe where people existed together and cooperated in the same sort of way. Muslims went on to found great empires in the East, such as the Ottoman Empire, which continued to expand and lasted into the 20th century. At its peak in the 16th century, the Mughal Empire contained a fifth of the world's population. Today, 1/3 of the world's Muslims live in South Asia. The Safavid Empire. In the 15th century, the capital city, Isfahan, became one of the most elegant cities in the world.
This is all very peaceful, but doesn't the Quran call for holy wars?
The Quran does not ignore war, but Muslims may only use force when the practice of their faith is threatened, and only then when they've tried all other ways of making peace. Muslims use the word jihad to mean a struggle or striving against evil, a struggle to become pure and find peace. But the deeper meaning of jihad is personal. It is a personal struggle which goes on inside every Muslim. The struggle to find inner peace based on the guidance of the Qur'an.
How do you mean?
Jihad on a personal level to me means you're in a struggle. First of all, it's struggling within you to come to terms with Islam, to come onto the right path. That's one aspect of it. The other aspect is struggling to get your family, the people that you love, onto the path. That is another form of jihad to me. If I have a problem with my husband, or if my husband doesn't understand my religion, then it's my jihad. That is a form of jihad for me, to try and get him to understand it. Or if my children don't understand, for me to get them onto the right path, that is my jihad. I look at that as my jihad.
The Quran's major themes are Allah, human beings, society, reason, prophethood, revelation, and nature. There are many references to looking after the environment.
Part of being a Muslim is understanding that nothing belongs to us, absolutely nothing. All of this is a gift from God, so we have to take care of it. The same way I wouldn't walk into your house or a friend's house and destroy their furniture, because I don't have the right to do that. So I'm here on this earth and I have to preserve everything and look after it.
The Quran condemns the exploitation of the poor, the weak, widows and orphans. It is a Muslim's duty to care for the less fortunate in society, whether Muslim or non-Muslim. There are many things in the Quran which show an awareness of things to come. Many Muslims claim that even the Big Bang Theory, which explains how the universe came about, was covered 1400 years ago in the Quran.
The Quran guides to what is most right and gives glad tidings to the believers who do good deeds, that they shall have a magnificent reward.
Calligraphy, beautiful writing.
Because the Quran is of such importance to Muslims, when it is copied out, great care is taken with the calligraphy that is used. The art of producing a Quran is a religious act. Arabic is written from right to left, so the hand draws in towards the heart. Because Muslims believe it is wrong to represent heavenly or human beings, calligraphy became an important form of decoration. Whilst calligraphy is still an important skill, it is by no means the only way of calling up the words of Allah.
I think Quran is in touch with society, with time, with technology. I mean, initially it was written on parchment, memorized. All he does now is switch on a box, and it's there.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل أعوذ برب الناس ملك الناس إله الناس.
We have revealed the Quran in the Arabic tongue, that you may understand its meaning. It is a copy of the eternal book in our keeping, sublime and full of wisdom.
An ambition of many Muslims is to learn the Quran by heart. The name Hafiz is given to someone who has achieved this. Being Hafiz is valued because it means the Quran is present in your mind at all times of day and night.
Why do it?
Being a Hafiz, a person who's learnt the Quran by heart, was first my grandmother's choice. She wanted someone in the family to learn it because it brings blessings to the parents and the grandparents of the person who's learnt it. God has promised that a person who learns the Quran and acts upon it, He will grant 7 generations paradise.
فيه آيات بينات مقام إبراهيم ومن دخله كان آمنا ولله على الناس حج البيت من استطاع إليه سبيلا ومن كفر فإن الله غني عن العالمين.
God has made it very easy as a miracle to memorize the Qur'an. And when a person memorizes the Qur'an, he feels that he is playing his part in preserving the Qur'an, in saving it, in safeguarding it.
والله شهيد على ما تعملون قل يا أهل الكتاب لم تصدون عن سبيل الله.
If, Allah forbid, the Qur'an was ever to be lost in the form of a book or in word and in writing, then at least there would be millions of people throughout the world who know the Qur'an by heart.
Reciting the Quran is something Muslims will do over and over again throughout their lives. It will bring comfort on all sorts of occasions.
اقرأ وربك الأكرم الذي علم بالقلم.
How can the Quran bring comfort?
About my age, all the kids, they're trying to get into the pubs. And they're getting thrown out, but they're still trying to do it. And when they find out that, like, I don't actually, drink, and I don't go into pubs, then they actually think, what's this guy all about? And then it actually makes me think. And so at these times when, you're weak in your faith and thinking about, just about why you do all these things, you can look into the Quran then, because then it tells you why. It tells you why you don't drink. You kind of like step back for a sec and just look at the whole picture, and you just recognize, the problems that it causes, and then you're thankful that you're not like into these types of things.
When my youngest son was born, I wasn't very well, and I had to go and see the gynecologist. And she did her tests and everything, and she said to me, well, you can't have children until you have treatment. And I said, but I've got 2 children. She says, no, she actually said it's not possible. You're sure they're not adopted? And she was quite harsh and quite cruel. And that night, I just sort of picked up the Quran and I just opened it, and it just fell open at the page. And when I read that, and I thought to myself, you've been totally stupid, you have. And I read the page, and it was at Surah Maryam, and it was the bit that I took to heart was the bit where the angel Gabriel goes to Mary and tells her you're going to have a child. And she says, but how can that be? I haven't been touched by anybody. I can't have a child. And the angel Gabriel says, but if it's the will of Allah, then it will happen. If he says be, it will happen. And I felt, yeah, okay, I didn't need treatment and I had 2 children, so I don't need treatment to have any more children. And shortly after, a few years later, I did get pregnant again, although that one I lost. But that really made me feel that, he was telling me, don't lose faith in me. I'm still here for you.